Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sandy. This is Sawing with Sandy. It's a beautiful day, just on the cusp of fall, very unseasonably warm. I'm gonna get some vitamin D, take in some sunshine, and split some firewood. Here on my right is my location where I make all that firewood, my wood yard. You can see on my far right there, I have my log deck. I put logs up on with my tractor, cut those logs into rounds, and then they make their way through the wood splitter. Now this wood splitter is what I've been using most recently. This is the Eastonmade axis. This is my very first go around with a vertical splitter, and that is quite the step up. If you think back in time, I used to use a very rough looking horizontal splitter. It was so slow I might as well watch paint dry. It cut some wood, but it didn't start very well, and despite what all the naysayers are saying out there, I do maintain my equipment, so it just was a rough piece of equipment all around. This is the upgrade from that, this axis, and this thing's been a joy to use. I've really enjoyed it. It certainly made my life a lot easier. It's very easy on the back. It's very easy to make custom firewood pieces. You can make big, small, you know, whatever you want. And with the stroke that's adjustable in height, you can really cut some firewood really quickly. Throw in there the conveyor, and well, I'm not touching the firewood a heck of a lot. Loads itself into the IBC cages, up the hill, dries in those cages, and then it goes on its way to a customer or to my home. Anyways, this thing's been great. However, recently, I've been lent this thing behind me, the Eastonmade 1222. This is not staying, this is going out. It's being sold to a customer, but I'm gonna try it out for at least a month or so. And so that's exactly what we're gonna continue doing today. What I'm gonna tell you about after today, after you see me split a few rounds through both machines, is I'm gonna tell you my opinion on the Axis versus the 1222 versus the Eastonmade Ultra that I had originally. Now, these two are somewhat similar in price. You know, we'll put the pricing on the website there and you can check it out. But the Ultra, which is quite a bit cheaper, leaves a lot of people with a lot of tough decisions to make. Well, I'm going to give you my input here, and this will be my honest input. If I were to split wood for a business, if I was to split wood for myself, if I was looking to spend a lot of money, a little bit of money, I'll tell you what I'm thinking. Anyways, with less talk, let's get down to it. We've got some hard maple rounds ready to go. We'll start off, run some through the Axis, and then we'll do the same, run some through the 1222. You'll see the difference in firewood quality. You'll see the difference in speed in my general setup. Just keep this in mind as we're going here. I have not split a lot of wood with that machine there. In fact, you know, just a few hours of firewood has gone through it from me. And so I don't have a ton of experience with that, especially with the auto valve. I have to get used to that. And so if you see me sort of second guessing what I'm doing, walking to the wrong side of the splitter at times, that's because I'm not experienced yet. I like to think I can be an expert at some things, but I can't be an expert at everything, at least not immediately. Let's get down to it. Well, folks, right on cue, the rain sort of kicked off on me here. I just got done splitting some firewood with the axis, and one thing you'll probably tell with this machine here, you can make pretty much whatever firewood size you want. If you've ever seen firewood that comes out looking square like this, it might have come off an axis, maybe even a box wedge on the 1222. One of the things I probably will get asked is, which out of these two machines would I prefer in my situation? Well, my situation, I think I'd prefer the axis, and the reason being is I don't get a lot of really good firewood logs. A lot of the logs that I get, I cut them down because the tree is dying or has died and fallen down, and so I get a lot of knots, I get a lot of crooks, a lot of not pristine logs, and because of that I got to work around a lot of stuff. And because you choose where the wedge hits the round with this unit, that's what allows me to continually make good quality firewood despite having not good quality logs. That being said, I also like a few other things with the axis. I like how I can control the size of the split. I'm making firewood size that is custom for me or for a customer. If someone wants the splits a little bigger, I can make it bigger. If they want it smaller, I can make it smaller. Now, having the conveyor is a huge bonus here, but I could always get a conveyor for this unit, the 1222 behind me, and kind of match the same situation, filling up a pickup truck, IBC cage, or even a trailer for delivery. I like the log loader on this unit. I also like the log loader on that unit. Both are comparable that way. I like the working height of this thing. It's at a very comfortable height. You're not having to bend over at all to do the firewood that you need to. This thing equally as well, it's a nice height, so you're not having to bend down very low to do the work you need to. This thing's also nice. It has that cradle up there. You take the round, put it in there, hit the auto valve, and then you're on your way doing what you need to. Now, on that point about the auto valve, that's what I think really makes the 1222 a little bit faster than that axis over there. The axis is fast, but a lot of it is dependent on you, the operator. This thing, you throw a round in there and you hit the auto valve, you can go off and get another round ready to go. It's gonna put it through the wedge, and with the 6-way wedge, you make an awful lot of firewood in a hurry. So then the question becomes, if I could pick and choose which machine stayed around here for the long term, which it would be? Well, the 1222 is a beautiful machine. I really like it. Throw a conveyor on there, I think you've got a high production, perfect machine. However, I think in my case, with the logs that I'm getting, which aren't exactly perfect, throw in some tree service rounds, I think the axis is the ticket for me. I can make my way around all the imperfections in the rounds, get around all those parts that are junky, and still come out with some nice firewood when I'm done. In the contrary, if I were to throw up some junky rounds up there, as I mentioned before, I'm going to get some decent firewood, but I'm also going to get some junky firewood. I'm going to get some slash. Now, if you look down here, slash is that stuff. It's sort of like the leftovers. It's not a huge deal, but the more junky the round you put up here, the more of that you're going to get. And, you know, in my case, I'd prefer if I could get less of that. And the axis allows me to do that. I also like the size of the firewood that I'm getting with the axis. I like having these square pieces of firewood. I like being able to split really small the first time that wedge passes through if I choose. And because of that, I like the axis setup. Now, this axis, if you haven't seen this before, there's actually another version of it that's even faster. So if you thought this was fast, even with a relatively slow operator, you should see this thing with the new engine, the new model, we'll call it, and a really fast operator. It's super quick. As I said before, though, I'm not sure if it's going to be as quick as this unit, because if you do a simple math here, one round, one push, times 6 gives you 6 pieces every single time. That thing, once through, first time through will give you 2 pieces. You can rotate it to get 4 pieces. The third time you can bump it up further, but you're still having to go through more than once, whereas this thing you go through once and you're done. Now, some of the reasons I think that 1222 is going to be better for those people out there looking for that high production is because this has that auto valve on it. You saw me trying to master it here, and I'm no good at it yet, but it allows me to load the round up there, push that pusher through the round while I go off and get the other round ready to go. And I think that little bit of savings will magnify in the long run, especially if you're trying to maximize your time to sell the wood. And so I really like that setup. I also like how that wedge is adjustable. up and down. And you can also switch that wedge out. You know, I've seen other people out there, they've got box wedges on there. And so if this style of wedge is not suitable, you know, throw a box wedge on there. Maybe that'll be better for the type of firewood you're selling. So I like that about it. This thing, it's got sort of the whole package in one here. The conveyor, it's got the log lift. This unit here has the log lift. However, I would throw on a conveyor to top it all off. Now, let's talk dollars and cents here for a second. These are both, you know, well-built, high-dollar pieces of equipment. Let's not get ourselves wrong. If I were in a situation where I were splitting firewood on a smaller scale, maybe I was splitting it for myself, maybe I was just starting off trying to sell firewood and I didn't have the money for the investment yet, then I might go to that Ultra. That Ultra, comparatively with a homeowner style splitter, is like night and day. And I've said that before in videos. That's all I was used to before the Ultra, was slower splitters, you know, big box store splitters, nothing wrong with them, but they're just not the same. I was used to those style splitters. Then I went to the Ultra. The speed that that unit works at, the working height, the large table, that thing was the ticket. So if that was the price point that I was at just starting out, hands down, I would be going back to that Ultra. As you saw before, even though it didn't have a conveyor on it, I was using elevation change to fill IBC cages. I had one of these IBC cages right there, and I had the Eastonmade Ultra up here. If you recall, I had the log deck here, loading logs, cutting them, loading them onto my splitter, and then gravity was pushing the pieces right off the end of the table into the IBC cage. So there's definitely workarounds. If one of these two machines aren't in the budget, I would hands down go for one of those Ultras if one of these two weren't an option for me. Anyways, that's going to do it for me here today. What I'll do is I'll put some links at the end of this video to the Eastonmade Ultra and also my Axis videos. You can go back and check those out. But overall, I just feel very privileged that I have the opportunity to run these pieces of equipment. Because like I said before, once you try something of this magnitude, you know, a commercial splitter like this, it's really going to be difficult if I ever have to go back to the other type of splitters. I'm not saying the other splitters won't split, because they certainly will, and I did it for years. But it's like going back to the old standby, the old pickup truck, and then going to a brand new one. The old pickup truck gets you around, it picks up the wood, it does the chores, but as soon as you get in that fresh new pickup truck, you feel the heated and cooled seats, the radios cranked up, you got your arm out the window, you're feeling good. Well, that's sort of what I'm feeling with these two units here. Anyways, that's going to do it for me here today. If you haven't done so already, check out my other social platforms, sawingwithsandy.com. As always, give me the old thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.